Morning. How you doing? A little bit windy. Apologise. By the coast. Happens. Wouldn't be Phoenix history if we didn't have at least an abandoned toilet in our video. And obviously here we are in Birchington, and we're going to start with Birchington's abandoned toilets. No, I just had a look in there, and yeah, it is disgusting. But today, I thought I'd do something just a little bit different for the channel. So I thought that today I would just walk across a small stretch of coastline that's got an incredible amount of stairwell tunnels in it. In fact, it's probably the most amount in a short gap on the Kent coastline. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. Sad but interesting fact there for you. So if you come down here, you will see a lot of stairwell tunnels that come from the top going down in a very short space. Most of them are blocked. In fact, I'm not sure how many are open, but we're going to find out. So it's going to be a short walk, but I'm going to take you along with me. So let's go, come on. So, behind me is one of the secret stair sort of cases that leads down to the seafront. So let's go and check it out. Come on. So, what's really impressive about Birchington is that you do have these sort of like secret little places hidden within the coastline, and like I said, this stairway is amazing really, and it signifies a lot of its hidden secrets. But as we can see, it's a beautiful structure. The stairs are quite narrow, and I have got a torch with me, but I don't think we need to use it for this. But look at the arch. Now I can see this through the camera, so I'm hoping you can see it too. The beautiful design of this, as it's cutting its way through the chalk, is absolutely amazing. The detailed brickwork that we have as well, and these concrete steps. But like I said, these steps are quite narrow, and within you can see hidden traces of... Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right. That's quite fun. You can see hidden traces of where there would have been these little like railings here, and then there's another beam there to reinforce this arch that we've gone down. Absolutely beautiful. And then here we can see that this would have probably been locked off at one point. But yeah, it's quite funny actually, because I have seen a lot of joggers already today, and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I'm going to encounter one. And then there you go. Wow. So, Finger of Doom, there is another one which is blocked up, and that's sort of halfway up the side here. And what we're trying to do today is basically follow what is known as the Viking Trail, which leads us through to Margate really. So behind us is obviously the wind farms that you can probably see from Whitstable Bay area, and we're following this Viking Trail that leads us to Birchington. We're literally just going to go across this tiny stretch here, but I'd like to show you a few other little beautiful things that are here as well. There's amazing parts of history as well, which I'll probably show you and tell you about as well. Like Solomon J. Solomon's abandoned house, which is just literally around the corner there. So yeah, lots of history, but let's keep going. Come on. So again, we've only just walked up from that one. Seagulls are out, I've annoyed them. But again, more hidden little footways that go up to the top. And this as well, which is blocked off. You'd have it think it was an air raid shelter. Now, I'm just going to sort of say, for the purpose of this video today, I did do a lot of history research before I came down to this part of the coast, because I think it's absolutely stunning. This part, Birchington especially, if you've never been to the Kent coast, you've got to go. Danger falling, see I've parked near here. This is danger falling debris. You're going to see lots of these little slipways, stairways into the beach itself. And obviously this one's falling debris, so we can see that clearly the weather is starting to take its toll on places like this. Well, actually, look, God blimey, this all bricks, isn't it? What's that all doing there? I wonder where that came from. Falling debris from where? Yeah, this is sort of like just a rough sort of walk through, just so you can get curious about this area. And like I said, if you're not from Kent and you want to come down here, if you have the ability to, I recommend you come down here and just see all these tiny little hidden sort of sections that were within it. And what I sort of like find is really amazing is the fact of it's relatively early in the morning, which means that you've got the joggers, and it's a beautiful day today, and cyclists. But yeah, so back to what I was going to mention about history. So when I was doing my research, the only important thing worth mentioning is really the Solomon Cliffview house. And then you've got these secret passageways, which are literally, I mean, they are littered here. You know, and today I think it's a question of which ones are accessible. Actually, it's quite nice all of a sudden. I've got a huge gap with not many people, although I probably will be invaded by joggers at some point. So I don't know which ones are accessible and which ones are blocked off. For example, that's blocked off. Wow. That's really another reason why I wanted to take you down here, because I don't think I've seen a place that's got so many stairwells down into, leading into the coast. I don't think I have from memory, which is again why I wanted to take you here, just to show you, and obviously to go at least into one was really my main agenda. And then hopefully we can get to see some sea caves, although the tide is in today, but let's keep going. And again, another one that's blocked up. It's amazing, isn't it? There's just so many. I really don't recall ever being on a part of stretch of coastland where you see so many sort of tunnels / stairways coming in. But this is the main thing I wanted to show you, and I'm so glad it's still here. Although we won't be able to visit it today, but I'm sure at a later video we might have the opportunity, so we'll stay tuned. But here we are, here's our piece de resistance of this coastal walk already. Okay, so standing behind me now, if I raise you up a little bit, is Solomon J. Solomon, who's Solomon Joseph Solomon, and this was his clifftop house, which is now abandoned. And what makes this really interesting is that Solomon J. Solomon was famous for camouflage techniques during World War I. In fact, he actually had a very big influence on the actual design and the art of it, and the netting even that went into World War I. And this is his clifftop house, which has obviously seen better days and is accessed via the private estate that is behind this building. And it's in relatively, I mean, a couple of people have explored it and it's in relatively good condition actually from what you can see. However, most people now, it's been redundant to the pigeons, etc, etc, which is probably so-so. And obviously, as the erosion's sort of taken place on this, you can see that it's either seen better days, but can you imagine the views that that would have had out here? Probably very inspirational for somebody who was an artist and a painter. But yeah, that's our main goal of today, to show you that amazing piece of history, really. I think it's actually heritage listed, although I might be wrong on that now. Amazing. So yeah, I was just speaking to a couple of people who were in one of the houses opposite the Solomon House, and we were talking about the fact that on the Kent coastline it's really rare to see so many stairways down in such a small gap. So in other words, in this specific area of Birchington, as we counted 4, 5 maybe, and from what he was telling me, because I didn't actually know properly, that there's only one that's accessible. So that was good to know, which one that we've gone down to, and all the rest of them were blocked, obviously for health and safety, and for the fact they just lead off into people's houses. And here's another footpath that comes down onto the coast. So pretty, and it's like I said, it's really the main reason why I wanted to take you here today, because you know, it's not necessarily, this is more conservation, preservation, I suppose. The fact that you can all do this, we can all walk down here and just look at this amazing stretch of coastline and just walk it, even when the tide's in. It doesn't really matter to us, just to sort of see the erosion and all these tunnels. See, again, here we go again. Look at that. All completely sealed up, but what an amazing piece of history. Look at that. God, I've done a really good job of closing that up. I suppose probably it reminds me a little bit of, we're not too far away from it, probably Pegwell Bay's got quite similar. It's nice really when you think about it, on the Kent coastline, each section of Kent coastline, I suppose you could sort of argue, has got its own unique characteristics, which you'd find on most coastlines really, but it's just so refreshing to come to a place where you can park up. Didn't have any trouble parking today, as long as you don't obviously park in an obvious place where you're sort of interfering with people's where they live. Obviously, I mean, like, you know, I was sort of parking plenty of estates to park in around here, but you just got to be careful of it. Hello. Hello. And another dog. And yeah, it's amazing. It's that time again where I said to myself, well, like, if I go early, there's a chance I might not see many people. Obviously, we've had a jogger, and we just had a dog. Beautiful people who were chatting to me about the Solomon House. Amazing. It's quite weird as well, I suppose, because you see all these stairwells and you sort of think to yourself, oh wow, like you'd expect so much history, and there is and there isn't, you know. And obviously for me today, it's just showing you these interesting little spots on our Kent coastline. It's just something a little bit different. You know, you get your lovely walk in, you get to meet some amazing people, because obviously, as we know, living in Kent, we've definitely got the best people, haven't we? We've got some characters from all across the county, from Rochester to Medway, and then obviously we've got Margate, which obviously we're not too far away from. So yeah, we definitely have the complete menagerie of characters in Kent. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I was sort of walking past and I was just checking. Looked like a little bit of a cave, but again, didn't see anything on the records to suggest that there was one, but it's good to have a look. The good thing is today for me, I've got nothing else to do today. So once I've done this mini walk, I'm just going to take my time today. I think that's the most important thing. More little hidden passageways. If you Google Map that does obviously back off onto people's houses, and I think there's like an abandoned garage at the top there as well. Again, historically, not necessarily anything relevant, but it's still pretty special. Wow, look at this. So we're not actually that far from Margate now. For better or worse, as some people would say. And I think this is really, because the tide's in, as far as my journey's going to take me around to the bay here. Where obviously it looks like there's some people there already. So Yeah, look at that. And then round the corner, I think there's some sort of sea caves, but they're not. I think they're normal, natural sea caves that you'd see anywhere. So whether that was worth recording, I was thinking to myself, if the tide was out, we'd go visit them today. But I didn't look at the tide because, to be fair, I knew I was going a nice time regardless. Right, so bit of a giggle. I've just deleted the previous video because I'm going to be honest with you, these things happen. Only because I'd done the stupidest thing. I was chatting about Apple Bay, which is obviously where we are. I was talking about the bay, etc, etc. And I thought, I've got to make sure that's right. So, turns out I was wrong. But it sounded very similar. So it's called Eeple Bay. E-P-P-L-E, not Apple Bay. Very similar though. I have no defence. I have no defence on that whatsoever. Oh dear. Isn't it just brilliant? Oh. Just saw some people come in, and I don't know if they were canoeists or people like that who had just literally packed up and gone. But again, look at the amount of joggers, it's crazy. But these are beautiful, aren't they? More little hidden parts of this Kent coastline. Oh, smells of pea though. But lovely little benches, natural benches. And the good thing about it is, I've got some fantastic views out there. I can imagine the youth, day youth, have probably been in here actually. Yeah, you can see some wonderful graffiti. Yeah, it's just lovely. It's a nice little walk today. Little bits of history thrown in. Love it. So what I want to do is, I was debating whether to go down onto the bay itself, but what I might do is we'll head up to the top and then walk up a little bit further, and then I'll head back. Probably won't film that bit because it'll just be a really long, boring video of just me doing a walk. And I've covered a bit of history. There was originally at one point in World War II a flue gas site here with petroleum, so the idea was that if there was an invasion, for example, again this is a bay so it's prime for a landing, that this at one point they probably would have had some pipes, underground pipes leading out of the bay and setting fire to it in these big old rings of fire to stop any invaders coming in. There's also notes of some pillboxes that were originally here as well. But the flue gas site, from what I remember, was roughly in this area. In fact, you wouldn't know it anymore, but there probably would have been some pipes leading out. And so I said, you know, would have filled it up with liquid and then set fire to it. And these big old rings, there's some amazing stock footage of stuff like that. And the idea was if invaders were coming onto this bay, it would have been covered in fire, sea of fire really. Although it's a small bay, it would have been very handy if the invading Germans, thank God that never happened, would have come here, Operation Sea Lion, you know the rest. I've pretty much covered that in most of my videos. But let's go up to the top now, because I think that's the most, we're going to have a nice little view from the top. Come on in. Okay, so we made it to the top and we're now looking down at Eagle Bay. I hope I've said that right, everybody. I do apologise for the locals. In front of us is a beacon on top of the land, and then obviously there's another walkway down. We took this one here, and it gives you a really good view of the bay itself. And then to our opposite side, you can see there's a golf course, which clearly people are getting in their rounds for this morning so they can go back to their husbands and wives for the rest of the day. How exciting. Lots of cyclists, lots of cars. But it's such a beautiful area, and to think we took that, so where that pinnacle part is, we sort of came in from there and then literally walked across this small stretch of land, and we saw so many foot tunnels, didn't we? And then below us are some sea caves. But what I'd noticed when I was there was that most of them have been blocked up, and if you've been to Pegwell Bay, you'll see similar, where they've reinforced it with concrete to stop actual further erosion, more importantly. Yeah, and if I carried on, we would be into Margate. So I feel like this is where I'll head down to Eagle Bay, and then I'll conclude the video there. I'm just gonna carry on a little bit further for myself, just to get in a few extra steps for this morning. But yeah, stay with me. Well, it's been a beautiful little walk, one that's taken probably about 20 minutes if that, just going around the corner, showing you all these amazing, although blocked up tunnels, these stairways, these hidden stairways that lie at Birchington. Oh, I think I picked a really lovely day, and I've got to say, everybody that I've met has been so lovely, walking their dogs and everything else. It's been quite fun to film, and giving me more practice to sort of film when there's more members of the general public around, because I do get a bit nervous and I get a bit anxious. That's why normally I try to film places where there aren't many people. But hopefully you enjoyed that wonderful little mini walk, and it took you away, transported you away for a short period of time. I know it did for me, and obviously now I'm going to make my own memories, and I'm going to continue my walk heading back and just really take my time and enjoy it, which is what all of you lot should do every time you go on these amazing little walks. And even though this was a tiny walk, the amount of history that it contains is fascinating. And on that wonderful and beautiful note, I will leave you with the classic phrase of because history matters, and it really does, doesn't it? And although we just scratched the surface of Birchington, I know that we will visit, and I know that we will be going to the Solomon House. So this will be a continuation, and we will explore the abandoned Joseph Solomon House. And we'll do a proper history video on that as well. But for now, hopefully you enjoyed this amazing piece of coastline, this Kent coastline. Aren't we lucky? It took me about 40 minutes in the car to get here, so not even that long to reach this, to see some amazing people and to get a little bit of history and some seeing at the same time. What more could you ask for? Take care. I'll see you all very soon. Remember to spread the word of the channel if you'd like to. You can dislike the video if you want to as well, or you can like it. It's totally up to you. Of course it is. And thank you so much for your kindness, your patience, and more importantly, for me on a personal level, your support. It goes a long, long way. Take care, because history matters, and I'll see you all very soon. Ready? Come on then. Kapow!